Preparations are underway to elect Pope Francis's successor. Cardinals arrived at the Vatican this morning ahead of next week's conclave. The College of Cardinals set Wednesday, May 7th as the start date to elect the next pope. Today, the Vatican released video of workers installing the stove at the Sistine Chapel, where the ballots will be burned during the conclave.
The chair of Peter is empty. Right now, as I speak, the Catholic Church is in a real Sede Vacante. And somehow, the 2024 film Conclave feels like it kind of saw it coming. This isn't just a political thriller, it's a spiritual gut punch. And that ending? Yeah, I know, it stirred a lot of controversy, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happened, what it means, and why this story might actually honor the Church a little bit more than it attacks it. Based on the novel by Robert Harris, Conclave opens with the death of the Pope and the start of a new papal election. Cardinals gather in the Sistine Chapel, locked in, cut off from the world, as the world waits for the white smoke. Our guide through this drama is Cardinal Lawrence, played by Ray Fiennes. He's the British Dean of the College of Cardinals. The front-runners for Pope, a fiery Nigerian conservative, a Canadian centrist with secrets, a progressive Italian, and a traditionalist with hard lines. But the real twist comes from a wild card, a quiet bishop from Kabul, Vincent Benitez, secretly elevated to cardinal by the late Pope before his death. What starts as a political game becomes a crisis of conscience. Lawrence uncovers corruption, hidden bribes, sins both personal and institutional. And as Europe erupts in violence, some cardinals even call for war. Others cling to power, but in the rubble, literal and spiritual, it's the humble Benitez who gets elected. And just as Lawrence begins to breathe a sigh of relief, he learns a final secret, as does the audience, that changes everything. Benitez was born with a uterus and ovaries, meaning he's intersex. Something he didn't even know about until adulthood. He chooses not to undergo surgery, and as a last kicker, it turns out that even the Pope knew about this and chose not to exclude him or excommunicate him. For some viewers, this was a bridge too far. They saw it as an attack on Catholic teaching, or a stealth attempt to push gender ideology through the back door. Some even called it an anti-Catholic propaganda film. But here's the thing. Benitez doesn't identify as a woman. The film doesn't push a label. It doesn't say, this is what the Church should do. It says, this happened. And now someone quiet, reverent, humble, and faithful has been elected Pope. The question isn't, should this happen in real life? The question is, what do we do when God's grace looks different than we expected? In my humble opinion, the twist doesn't mock the Church, it mourns it and challenges it. Conclave is about discernment, it's about mystery, it's about doubt, it's about uncertainty, and it's about faith. About trying to hear the voice of the Spirit when all the voices of men are shouting. Cardinal Lawrence isn't some woke hero, he's faithful, traditional even. He agonizes, he prays, he doesn't immediately accept. But when Benitez says, I wanted to remain as God made me, you see the core of the film. Grace might not always look like us, but that doesn't mean it's not grace. And right now, the real Church waits to choose its next pope. This question lands like thunder. What does holiness look like? Do we trust the Spirit, or just our own categories and preconceptions? In Conclave, the rituals are shown beautifully. They show the music, they show the Mass, the weight of the history, it's all there. The film doesn't hate the Church, it honors it, while asking hard questions. Conclave doesn't tell you what to think. It asks, what if holiness is hidden? What if obedience looks like listening, not just following? What do we do in the face of doubt, when we are uncertain? Do we give up, or do we cling to the very faith that God gave us? And what if, when the smoke finally clears, the Holy Spirit still gets the last word? I feel like when a lot of people saw this film, they came in with preconceived notions. They came in with a bias against Hollywood, which is somewhat deserved, but I feel like they drew a line in the sand because the movie lays out the exact theme of the movie, and it comes when Cardinal Lawrence gives his homily at the start of the conclave. He tells the college, there is no need for faith when there is certainty. Let that sink in. He's not denying faith, he's elevating it. He's saying that real faith doesn't begin when we know what to do, it begins when we don't. That line becomes the soul of the story. As the cardinals bicker, lie, plot, scheme, some leaning to politics or other forms of dogma, Lawrence's words echo louder. Faith isn't in power, it's in surrender. It's not in having all the answers, it's in seeking the truth anyways. By the end of the film, when Lawrence is faced with the truth that shakes his categories, that throw him into uncertainty, it's that line that comes back into our heads. There is no need for faith when there is certainty, but we are never certain, and that's why we believe. At least that's how I interpreted the film. So what do you think? Was the twist powerful, a step too far? Do you think the film mishandled its reverence towards Catholicism? Was it reckless? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a respectful, thoughtful conversation about it. And if you want more content where theology meets storytelling, where the church and cinema collide, hit the subscribe button, like and share, because the story isn't over. Not in Rome, not in film, and not in us. Peace be with you.